up on the desk today with the Game Boy Color again. For what reason? Well, we have some parts. And what those parts would be is an OLED kit for the Game Boy Color. Oh, screwdrivers. They're always nice to have. I wasn't able to get a matching teal color because they were out of stock. So I went with classic DMG gray. Plastic feels pretty good. Now, what does this come with? Looks like it comes with everything. Screws, membranes, and buttons. Now, I did think the buttons that came with this might just be grey. That's alright, because I got a button packet of my own, if I can remember where I put them. Here they are. You can see they have the red colorations for the A and B buttons. Exciting. So let's put this aside. And let's have a look at this screen. This is a high-speed I-Do kit, or high-speed Edo. I've heard all sorts of people calling it all sorts of things, but to me it's a high-speed I-Do. There's the screen. Here is the driver board. Well, not the driver board, this is the driver board, and this is the converter board that converts it from Game Boy Color pinout to something the screen can understand. A lovely piece of engineering, really. And that says ground and that says battery, so I'm assuming that's what these two wires are for. I need to brush up on my little bit of... Oh, and there's Kapton tape in there too. Hang on. There we go. Attach this insulating film to the metal surface on the back of the screen. It has a foam pad on it already. But it looks like this goes on like that. You flip this over and plug it into this, and then this comes up and around, plugs into the main motherboard, and then I'm assuming Kapton tape is to insulate this from the back of this. And then our two wires pre-tinned and everything. Wow. Okay. So that's... I'm gonna put these back in the box for the moment, while I do disassembly on the Game Boy Color. I know I just spent, time. Well, I didn't just spend it, but it's pretty fresh, pretty recent that I put on a new screen lens. So I won't say it was for nothing, but also, I didn't get very much use out of it. I mean, it was pretty cheap, so I'm not all too fussed. It was good. It was good to do it. I like doing things for the sake of having them done and having the experience of doing it. I do love this shade of teal. I will be sad to not have it. But I mean, I'll keep on to it if I ever come across a Game Boy Color that has a battered up case. I mean, this one's plenty fine still. It's got some scuffs, but overall it's very, very clean. Where's me Phillips head? Before doing that though, let's just unclip and unclip. Right. And we can basically keep this as is. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be using any bits from this that I know of. Not the screws, it comes with, the other shell comes with screws and everything. So I think, yeah, I'm going to put this aside for now. And after the video is done, I'm going to button it all back together with its correct screws and everything. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly consult a guide just to make sure I'm not doing any soldering to the wrong points. Okay, I've had a look at the documentation and it would appear that I was slightly incorrect in some of my assumptions. Like, for example, the Kapton tape doesn't go between our conversion board and the driver board. It in fact, because the conversion board basically has nothing on it save for these 3 bits here, it should be safe to just plonk on top, and then using the Kapton tape you can kind of cover up these bits to avoid shorting against the motherboard here, like placing it, you know, like so. I don't know how good that is to do, but that's what I'm being told. That's what the documentation I'm referencing says to do. And I'm referencing a couple of different sources, but they all seem to kind of pull and copy from one another. Another thing, even though it came with 2 of these little short wires, not short, but thin wires, you only need the one, and you only need to affix it to the battery terminal. You don't touch ground. So, and I've watched videos of people doing it themselves without affixing anything to the ground, and the screen seems to work perfectly fine. None of the documentation mentions doing up a ground, so yeah, I'm not going to do that either. Grounding something that probably shouldn't be grounded is always, it's always something. So what I'm doing now is I'm connecting this board, well, these 2 boards together. So that's affixed. And now it says using the Kapton tape. We must connect these 2. Did I put it? Yeah. Okay, that's all right. It's just the in the documentation I'm referencing this cable isn't in yet. So let's just, you know, be a little careful with this. Let's see. It's a bit too long. So I'm going to grab a scissors and cut, let's see. I need this length to be that long. Let's make a little tiny little score. Cut the tape. See if I can peel this tape. So the way they do it is they have a thin sliver. Goes like that. It leaves the battery terminal exposed. I suppose that's for playing around with later. But can I very gently pry that up? I can. And just pluck that out for a second. How long does this need to be? There we go. Right. I mean, this is what it says to do. I roughly have all the parts that they recommend to covered. Let's use this piece here just to fix it down that way also. That's on there. Reasonably solid, I think. Just reinsert that. Press down, not too hard. Hopefully that all behaves and stays where it should. Now I need to affix the little battery wire. And which way does this point? It points up towards the top, same direction as the ribbon cable. So it will go in just there. Suppose hold it in like tweezers would probably be better. For such a thin gauge wire, the heat will spread up it fast. I don't want to burn my poor little fingy. Seems like it's up to temp, okay. Oop. Okay, the card ran out of storage capacity, but I have a new one in. We didn't miss much. I was able to tack down that soldery bit, and I was just moving on to mounting the screen in the shell. So what we must do is peel up these to get the adhesive exposed. Man, this is a really bad tweezer. Wow. Throwing that away. Yeah, that's much better. Put this to the side for a moment. Okay, that's the adhesive ready. So let's pick up this whole construction. Now, we need to mount it. So, how am I gonna do this? Yeah. Push that through like that. Sit that in. There is a peel on the screen that's actually stopping me from properly inserting the lens. So let's peel that away. Wow, that looks really good. And properly sit that in, or attempt to sit it in anyway. Alright, that goes like that. Will this press in? Ooh, just about. Wow, that takes a bit of force to press in, but it's in. Look at that. Now, how's this looking? It's looking okay. Before we go any further, let's mount our buttons. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Power switch. Please, power switch. And that's 4. And then our membranes. How does this open? Down here. Come on. They're all clumped together, they don't want to come out. These look pretty good. I wonder how they feel in comparison to the OEM ones. I suppose we'll find out if all goes well, won't we? And in there like so. Okay, so from what I can tell, I was also incorrect about this. This can go in here on the bottom and just kind of come up, and then that'll kind of insulate everything from the motherboard. Speaking of which, we can plonk that in also. How's that sitting? Seems to be sitting flush. Okay. Now, our screws. I see 3 short ones for screwing in our motherboard. Yep, we have a Phillips head. Start at the center. Let's lift this up. So that's one. There's 2. Oops. There's 3. Now, how does this feel on the front? The buttons feel very nice. Start and select aren't sticking out as much as I thought they might, and the D-pad feels a bit strange too. I think I'm going to use the original membranes, or at least I'm going to put them in and see how they feel. Maybe I have something lined up a little bit wrong, and applying pressure with the screws is, doing something. What that something is, I couldn't tell you. Not without looking at everything first. Okay. That's all in there. Ah, that's why. The D-pad had slipped off, so this was off the terminal like that. No wonder it felt a bit strange. But I'm just wondering, these start and select buttons, are they the same? They are. It's just that it just feels like they don't sit as proud out of the front of the shell as much as the originals. Strange. Maybe that was just the board being slightly up from the membrane pad. Just feels like they don't sit. Let's feel it. Yeah, they don't sit. It's very subtle. There's only about 1 millimeter in it. Is it a shell thing? Or is it a button thing? Or a membrane thing, rather. Let's see, how does this feel? No, that feels better. How does this feel? No, it's a shell thing. It's definitely a shell thing. These are standing. Yeah. Okay. I'll get used to it. I don't know why I'm being so choosy. I suppose I like what I'm used to. I don't like change, unless it's on my terms. Okay. Move that original aside again. Okay. Let's get this mounted back in. Okay, how does this feel? Buttons are good. Start and select. They're not sitting as proud as I would have liked. That's okay. D-pad. Feels a little mushy. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Do I undo the screws and try it with the old D-pad membrane? No, I won't. I won't. I've spent enough time futzing around. I'll get used to it. So now this goes to pin C. This little red wire goes to pin C. So it goes to this pin on the power switch, right here. Let's see, so it would be easy to come in. The sleeves are coming up. This is how you know I'm concentrating now. So that attaches there. I need to come in from the right, so I hold this with my left. And like that, I can come in with the soldering iron. Okay. Switch that on. Double check, yes. It is C, although they have it routed a little differently than to how I do. I don't see how I have it routed causing any problems though. I suppose while we're waiting for things to heat up, we could probably do with inserting this ribbon just like that. Press it in and clamp down one side, clamp down the other. Okay. Let's get this. Just like that. Will do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to add some meat to that proverbial bone. Maybe this isn't even heated up just yet. Oh no, it is. That's plenty heated. Ooh, that's a bit much. Let's see if I can just kind of get that to stick to the tip and pull away. Yep. Come on, there we go. Okay. Let's try this again. I'm not used to doing things with my right hand. Oh dear, oh dear. So, this is good practice. Come on, you just melted. Melt again. Please. I just want it to be a bit more solid on there. My heat isn't up high enough or something. Something's going on here. I need to swap my hands here. Something's going on here. Is it? There we go. Okay. Is that touching that other contact? It might be. So let's just shunt this. Okay, it isn't the most beautiful, prettiest, maybe solid connection that the world has ever seen. But I think it's enough to function. Speaking of functioning, we must check if the Game Boy can do that, if it can function. So I'm just going to... Oh yeah, right. My little IR window. There we go. I'm trying to put that in upside down. We'll just press fit everything together for the time being, just so we can see if there's life. That vertical scrolling isn't there in person. That's just the screen. Does the touch work I don't know, does it? Press. How is this supposed to work? Do I press and hold on the screen? Eh? I don't know. Let me see. The screen works anyway. Let's see. Instructions for the screen. Control on-screen display by touching the screen with finger. I am. Oh, hang on. Touch the screen within the yellow box for 5 seconds. Ah, there it is. I wasn't reading the documentation close enough. Page up or down. Okay. Ooh. Oh, interesting. It's got scan lines. It has the pixel grid. Yay. That looks really nice. I'm gonna keep it on that. I have to say, oh, it doesn't scroll beyond. I see, or does it? No, 4 is where it's at. And then close the menu, touching the screen outside of the menu for 3 seconds. Just like that. Okay, cool. That's all verified and working. And I've noticed this case doesn't have a separator like the likes of, let's see, the original. Let's focus, please. You can see there's a separator here, but this one doesn't have it. I assume that's for some sort of battery mod I've seen where people get a rechargeable battery. They take out these battery tabs here and plonk it out, and that makes room for a rechargeable battery of some kind. That'd be cool. That might be something I might look into, just because with the screen and the likes of a flash card, it's drawing a lot of power, and that will sap the batteries pretty quickly. But, oh well, that's just how things go. Now, it did come with a sticker, but it's a little bit strange. It makes mention of Nintendo Creatures Game Freak. It doesn't quite match the original. You can see there's a lot more writing, a lot less logos. Maybe it's based on a different model from a different region. This is, well, you can probably tell by my accent, I'm Irish. This would be a European. I don't know, maybe it's based off of an American or something, or maybe it's just not. Maybe it's like, why would Game Freak? Like, Game Freak is labeled right here. Did they have something to do with making the Game Boy Color? Couldn't tell you. Let's be very careful now. Let's do this right. that's on there okay, I think. This is the Pokemon Blue I fixed the other day. Let's give the screen a quick polish just to get all those fingerprints I've deposited off of it. Oh, didn't read the game there. There we go. Turn off the white. It looks really quite nice. But I'll be honest, the real reason I got this, because I have an IPS LCD Game Boy Color, not Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance SP. The real reason I got this screen was so I can go out and use the Game Boy camera, because I like the Game Boy camera. And of course, with the Game Boy Advance SP, it sticks out the bottom. And that doesn't make things easy. Let's just say that. But with this, I should be able to actually see what I'm doing. Hang on, let's set it to black and white. Let's see if I can, if I point this up, and I tone down the brightness a little bit. Okay, I can only record for like 29 minutes at a time, so it stopped there, but you didn't miss anything. In fact, you're just in time to see that circular bit there. That's the camera lens of the camera that's recording this right now. I just think that's neat. It looks very good in person. It looks spectacular, honestly. Like, wow. Yeah, that's really good stuff. There it is, that's the camera. With all the lights in the background showing and everything. But yeah. Overall, I think that's very slick. I think that's really nice and really cool. So yeah, that's it really.